And just like that, Nico Hynes goes from a spot on the bench to completely out of the squad in a do-or-die situation. The Blues team list is out. Let's go ahead and take a gaze. So from 1 to 17, we have James Tedesco, Brian To'o, Latrell Mitchell makes his return, Tom Trbojevic, and Josh Adokar. That wraps up the back five. Moving on to the halves, we have Jerome Luai, who keeps his spot in the 6, and Mitchell Moses makes his return to the Origin Arena. Tough circumstances for Mitchell, but this is the type of stuff that turns good players into great. And after a clinical general play kicking display, he finds himself back in the sky blue. Moving on to the forward pack in the front row, Junior Paulo. Back in the starting side, Damien Cook joins the fray for an injured Uppy, and Payne Haas rounds him off. In the back row, Tyson Frizzell, Hudson Young gets another crack, and Isaiah Yeo at lock. And finally on the bench, making his debut, Stefano Utoikamanu. Cam Murray is fit, Liam Martin gets cleared for concussion, and Reece Robson also makes his debut in the sky blue. An interesting side, not gonna lie. Couple surprises there, especially on the bench. I'm not too surprised with Mitchell Moses, given that he did carve up yesterday. And with Renault, although he is in form himself, I didn't think they'd select him without selecting Cody Walker as well. For a moment, put your fandom or your admiration for Nico aside and ask yourself if he does have the kicking game you need for a 7 in the Origin Arena. Not saying he doesn't have a kicking game, he does, but it's definitely not as advanced as a Moses or, Reynolds. I mean, he's still developing as a 7. It does make me wonder what their intentions were with Nico in the first place. Picking him on the bench, seemingly next up for the 7, and then get snubbed for game 2. And I'm not gonna lie, this Mitchell Moses selection kind of feels reactionary. Like they didn't really have a plan for Nico in the first place. Unless their plan was to throw him in the 6 for Luai if Luai didn't perform. Because we know there was a lot of pressure on Luai. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Moving on. The selections of Utoikamanu and Robson's a little surprising as well. Particularly Stefano, who has a bit of Payne Haas about him. Obviously not on the same level, but you can see he's got plenty of potential. I'm surprised that they didn't go with a bit more mongrel or punch in a Spencer Leniu. Don't get me wrong, like I said, Stefano's a good player, plenty of potential, but his playstyle is a little cookie cutter. I'm not going to say he doesn't have that dog in him, but I haven't really seen him be super physical in club games. I'm more than glad to be proven wrong, by the way. He's got a tough task ahead of him. I'm keen to see how he does. And Reece Robson, after his breakout season last year, I'm actually glad to see him make his debut. I'm interested to see if that little 1-2 punch, I think that's the answer for Grant and Hunt. I'm interested to see just how effective this rotation will be between him and Cookie. But yeah, that's all the news out of the Blues camp. Latrell Mitchell, Mitchell Moses, Damien Cook all make their return, and a couple debutantes. Now for Queensland. From 1 to 17, we have Reece Walsh. Xavier Coates comes in for the injured Selwyn Cobbo. Valentine Holmes, The Hammer, and Murray Ta'ulangi round off the back 5. In the halves, Cam Munster, Daly Cherry Evans, front row, Lindsay Collins, Ben Hunt, Tino Fa'aso Maliawi, and in the back row, David Fifita, Jeremiah Nanai makes his return, and Paddy Carrigan rounds off the starting 13. On the bench, Harry Grant, Tom Flegler, Ruben Cotter, and Mo Fotuaika makes his return to the Maroons. How good is that? Well deserved and hard earned in my opinion. 18th man AJ Brimson, and 19th man Corey Horsburgh. Now there isn't really much to say about the Queensland side as everything's pretty stock standard. A couple of questionable selections maybe when it comes to replacements for Gilbert and Selwyn Cobbo with Xavier Coates. Look, I like him, but I've already said I'd prefer having Corey Oates, as I believe he's just a better winger all around. They used to call Xavier Coates a beast under the high ball, but we've never really seen him dominate the skies, if you will, or win many contested collects. But judging off Billy's previous selections, it's pretty much on brand. He's always looking forward. As for Nanai, I'm not sure what the situation is with Gaufusi, but with Nanai being in and out of the Cowboys team this year in general, and I'd say out of form, I was a little surprised with that selection, but at the same time, pretty excited because I know what he's capable of. I mean, we saw it in game 3 last year. The footwork, the offloads, I'm pretty sure he had a few line break assists. Can't really remember off the top, but like I said, I'm excited about the Nanai reselection and glad that Mo Fotuaika gets another crack as well. Brimmer at 18th man. I wonder if they're tossing up the idea of throwing him into centre and moving Holmes onto the wing. But yeah, all in all, for this Queensland side, plenty to like about it. No real controversial selections. That's the difference with this side and the Blues, these selections make sense. That isn't a slight either, you look at New South Wales game 1, kind of scratching your head a bit, and then game 2 rolls around, it's pretty much the same thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As a Queensland supporter, you already know who I'll be picking to get the win next week. I actually think there's potential of a 13+, so that's where we're going to lean. From a biased Queensland supporter, Queensland 13+ for the bakery One from each team. I'm going with Valentine Holmes for Queensland, and for New South Wales, Latrell Mitchell. Man, it's going to be interesting to see New South Wales left up against Queensland's right, who have been a little susceptible in the past. But yeah, that's my picks and preview for State of Origin Game 2. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And for more rugby league related content and more content in general, be sure to drop a cheeky sub. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you later.